Hey everybody, and welcome back to Romantasy Roundtable, and we're back on our next episode. It's been a little bit, but we're here. My name is Rick, and I'm here with my roses.
Amanda.
And Kim.
Who's now leaning in so everyone can hear her. And she's being careful with how much she moves the table so there's no reverberation. She is a statue right now.
Rick has a little bit of a janky mic setup here.
Wow, the shots are being fired.
So just so you know, this commentary about how I am the one who is not close enough to the mic or who's making too much noise on the table is really actually a reflection on what we have working with us.
Wow. On my show. In my office on my birthday.
It's not your birthday.
Or your office.
My show. My name's in the title. All right?
That part's true.
Yeah.
All right, so it's been a little bit extra of a break that we've recorded, and that's on us. You know, we do this at work in our office.
Our office.
My office. So, you know, it's been hard to find time. In the span of our last chapters, I finished 2 books.
Same, maybe? Same.
I finished 2 also.
So we're catching up, but I have some homework for us for our next episode, and that's going to be fun.
Rick, what book did you finish?
I finished 2 books. I finished Tomorrow, which I highly recommended to Amanda.
Nope. I recommended Tomorrow to Rick after it was recommended to me by our boss and by my sister. Shout out Julia for all of the book recs.
And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Everybody should read. The other book that I read was Wicked Hunter? Nope. Heartless Hunter. I never get the name of that book correct. Heartless Hunter. And that book was another 10 out of 10. Phenomenal. Really fast read. Part 2 comes out next week, so that's what I've been reading.
Kim, what have you been reading?
And I read actually only Throne of Glass books. So I have finished 2 more, and I'm on the last of the Sarah J. Maas Throne of Glass series.
I took a little break and read some nonfiction. I read a book called Being Jewish After the Destruction of Gaza, just like some light reading.
Little Sunday read, no big deal.
But then after that, I read the book called True Biz, which is by Sarah Novich, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is about a deaf school. And I really liked it. I would give it 4 stars out of 5.
That is what you gave it on Goodreads.
That's what I gave it on Goodreads. But I really liked it. And on Storygraph, because I can't commit to an app.
Speaking about committing, being able to not commit, one thing we're not able to commit to was getting this episode done. But we're doing it now.
We're doing it right now.
So last time, we call that a segue, right? Not like the thing that you ride or drive. Do you ride one or do you drive one?
Anyway.
Yep.
So we read chapters... Oh man, we're playing with this game again. We read through chapter 20?
Yeah, we read chapters 13 through 20.
That's right. And I'm dusting off my brain because, you know, I think I finished this 2 weeks ago. But we have our notes, and a lot has happened. Basically, to me, we kind of learned that the Ascended, they're the bad guys. Like,
we haven't confirmed that yet. But
I
do believe... Oh, before we dig into this, can we share that I'm not going to say what it is, but we can share that I experienced a major spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
And we haven't talked about this in real life yet because I keep saying, save it for the pod. So I, at some point in these 8 chapters that we read, forgot who a minor character was.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
And Googled it and found... And when I say minor, I mean not Poppy.
Okay.
That's what I'll say.
Sure.
Not Poppy. And I'll give you not Hawk. But I forgot who a minor character is, and I Googled it, and I was immediately hit with a massive spoiler, which I believe is a spoiler for this book, but honestly might be a spoiler for later in the series. And that is all I have shared with... The spoiler is not about that character. The spoiler is about a different character.
Wow.
And that's all I've shared with Rick and Kim. But throughout this, we will be perhaps taking some guesses at what my spoiler was. And I will neither confirm nor deny any of them.
All right. Well, so in the first couple chapters, basically, Poppy goes, she's with the Duke, and I was very uncomfortable. He was like beating her with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not like that
It was
at
awful.
all.
Yeah, it was rough.
I hated that. Not cool. So I really don't think the Duke and Co are good.
Yeah.
At
No,
all.
I mean, yes, that was I think clear before now, but yeah, the sexual sadism that sort of came up from caning her in front of Lord Farquaad, whatever the other guy's
and
name
he was
is.
liking it.
Yeah, and they're like all smiling and like luring at her and forced her to take off her clothes and all kinds of stuff, and that was just really, really gross.
Yeah, it was all around yuck. Both Rick and Kim read that chapter before me, and so I was given a heads up, which I appreciated
Yeah.
because it was gross.
Then some stuff happens. People talk, but then we get to some fun stuff, right? The Craven are back. They attack, and I think on our last episode, one, if not both of you, were like, "Where's the Craven?" Right? And they hear, and they attacked, and Poppy suited up, and she defended the wall. The wall?
The rise.
The
The
rise. I'm guessing there's also multiple rises, right? It's basically like a barracks. Possibly?
I think it's basically like a giant wall that is around each major city, is what
Okay.
it sounds like.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get
All
as
right,
well.
cool. So they're attacking the wall, the rise, and Poppy suits up, and she's fending them back, right? And then Hawk comes, and he basically they have some cute little banter on the top of the wall, and he like it seems like she's gonna escape. Sorry. It seems like he's gonna get her, but then she escapes. Oh no, he does capture her, and then they talk.
Yes, I also would like to say that at the end of the last episode, we took over-under bets on how long it would be until Hawk revealed that he's known who Poppy is basically all along, and
Right.
it was 4 chapters, which I believe was the over.
Okay.
I think it was 3 that it was either over or under, so I believe it was the over, which I think means Kim was right.
Nice. Good job, Kim.
I'll take it.
However, we also all said we were going to get soup.
Home. There is
Yeah,
no
and
soup.
there's-
There's
know,
the
definitely.
soup.
Whack.
There's no soup.
We are.
The soup kitchen is closed.
They're making nothing. There is no. They don't even have anything simmering. I think.
I don't
Maybe-
even know if they have a flame.
Seriously. I don't know what's going
I
on.
mean, there's a pilot light.
Right. They started getting the ingredients, but they have not put them together.
They
at
need to
all.
go to Food Town.
Right.
This episode is brought to you by Food Town, the grocery store that I go to every couple of days for 1 or 2 items.
Food Town, where we get our food. Dingle. No, wait. Hit the key.
Dingle.
There you go.
I don't think I can hear over there.
All right. Food Town's where we get our food. There it is. All right. So, there was. I had mentioned that I think Hawk is a vampire or something like that.
Okay.
And one thing in this part that got me to think that is like when he was behind her, he appeared in front of her, and she was like, he ran along this thin line or something.
Yeah, he's moving in ways that are not normal. Like
Right.
it happened here and then it happens again. We're kind of just like blending all the chapters together.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what we
But
did.
it happens again later when she's training with the priestess.
Yeah.
Like the priestess is about to slap her and he just like appears
Yeah.
to like prevent her from being slapped. So he definitely moves vampy.
Right.
Yeah. Whether that's vampire, whether that's, well, I have speculated that the Ascended and vampires are perhaps one and the same or related, but he definitely has some quote-unquote magic.
And we actually learned in chapter 19 or 20 that the vampires drink one kind of blood, and the Ascended, part of the rite of ascension, is that they drink the blood of the gods, which is, I think, further confirmation that the gods are actual beings that people interact with, which is something that we've kind of been speculating, and or Christian overtones of transubstantiation.
I want to. Kim had a conversation with me at some point because you hadn't caught up, and so we talked about it. She had a really interesting thought, so I'm gonna skip. We're skipping around, right? So at one point later on, and we'll come back to some stuff. At one point later on, there's a meeting going on in the castle, I think, or something like that, and a couple comes.
That's what happened earlier.
Oh, does that happen? Okay, so
It happened in the last
okay. So
episode.
that couple, right? They're like, so we know that like children are being like given to the church, but Kim had an interesting point. That's
Yes.
what I thought.
So we know that the third born is given to, yes, the church, the gods, the temples, whatever they might be. And we know that they are not seen by their families again. So my assumption here is that the Ascended are drinking the blood of the small babies.
Absolutely, 1,000% on board. My first note from this chapter is the third and fourth kids are dead. They've been sacrificed.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one is third and which one is fourth, and if I believe strongly that they're both being sacrificed. But I will say the ones that are going to the temple, those kids are dead.
They did.
Yep.
They're big dead.
Yep. The Ascended are waking up at night and drinking the blood of the small children.
I'm fine with that.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not fine with that, but I'm fine with that as a take.
Yeah, I'm with that too. Yeah, so going back a little bit, now Hawk has told her that he knows, he's been known, right? And they're in her quarters, right? Now, it's funny, Hawk is like, not Poppy, he's like, Tawny, beat it. I want to talk to her. Hawk is pretty funny. I kind of like Hawk. Anywho, so they talk it out for a bit, and they go back and forth. She's like, "Oh my God, do I like him?" And he's like, "I don't know, maybe, whatever." She's having these thoughts, and all right, so
But Kim, how do you feel about that dialogue between Poppy and Hawk?
It's as good as it always is.
I wrote down, "I know you are, but what am I?" It's giving, "Nah, yes
Right.
way."
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, look, I love it. Give it to
Oh
me.
my God.
I want Tawny in every chapter. That's what I want.
That's not who we're talking about.
I know,
right
we're
Look,
now.
I want her vibes everywhere.
Rick is Tawny.
Yeah.
Who did we decide
Rylan.
you were? Wait, why did we decide you were Rylan?
Because she died real quick.
Right. I'm the sacrificial lamb of the book here.
I believe we haven't met me yet.
I get voted off.
Yeah. I believe we haven't met me yet.
So
I show up in book 3.
Poppy is concerned that Hawk is going to tell the Duke. Hawk does not tell the Duke, but he goes to Victor, and he's like, "Bro, your girl. Control her."
Yeah, he tells her that Hawk tells Victor that Poppy went out to the Rise to fight the vampires. He doesn't seem to tell Victor about the Red Pearl.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's an important distinction. Poppy also doesn't seem to tell Hawk that Victor was at the Red Pearl.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because
Good point.
all 3 of them were there.
They doing things there, you know? They're having some soup on the side, and we can't find out about it. But the soup is going on in the Red Pearl.
We don't know that Victor had any soup at the Red Pearl.
Right. I mean, he was in the soupy room.
Yeah, but Victor's a grown man.
Right.
He has free access to soup.
You can have a side dish.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be committed to anybody.
No, he's having soup and salad, actually.
Okay. What about
But
the
this is
breadsticks?
Hey, look, depending on how hungry he is.
This episode is not brought to you by the Olive Garden.
They do have this conversation where they basically are like, we love each other in a very platonic way between Victor and Poppy. And so it is expressed between them that like Poppy views Victor as a father figure in a sense. And he has obviously looked out for her as such as well.
He got dad zoned.
And
That's real. I wasn't going to say it that eloquently, but I think the same thing.
okay, but my future prediction based off of that conversation is that Victor's going to die.
Yeah, you've been
So
saying that.
he
though.
has now been set up. I have been saying that, but now I feel like it's even more confirmation. He has now been set up as being this like familial figure, and that says death to me.
My take on that situation was not that he's going to die. It was that there's going to be some major rift between them that changes everything for her. They end up on opposite sides of whenever the war comes. The war always comes in every goddamn book. The war's coming. Whenever the war comes, they're fighting on opposite sides.
Heartless Hunter, the war is coming.
Shocked. Y'all, we heard from our coworker yesterday that he read the first 2 ACOTAR books and then stopped.
Woof.
JP.
Who is that?
Stopped.
JP.
He stopped between 2 and 3.
No.
And I was like, look,
Wrong.
stopping after 1, I'm going to encourage you to keep going, but I get it. My sister almost stopped after 1, and I had to yell at her to read 2, and now she's read all 5. Stopping after 3 is what I did. I think that's also acceptable. I eventually will read the other ones, but I'm going to read the Christmas special at Christmas.
I should have stopped after book 3 because my intense hatred for books 4 and 5 are real.
But
wrong.
stopping after book 2 is diabolical.
That's saying like, oh, Lord of the Ring, 2 Towers was great. The end.
You said that to him, though, and he blank-faced. Didn't retain that at all.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, we will unpack that another time.
That's a sign of a sociopath. And then I was like, that's like watching Empire Strikes Back, and like the end. I'm like, that's not. You gotta watch Jedi.
Right. But I bring this up because in all of book 2 was like, the war is coming, and then book 3 is the war.
What was it like?
The war is coming.
This episode is brought to you by the war.
I mean, in this series,
The war is coming.
The war is always coming.
I mean, look, there's like 8 books, so the war is probably going to come and happen again.
Oh my god.
There's going to be so many wars. So many wars.
Maybe not. Maybe the way that this book is going, maybe we're just building to the war for 7 books.
Imagine.
There's no soup. We're halfway through the book.
I'm just saying that I heard it doesn't matter. I heard the other ones are good. We're getting to that at some point. So, let's see. So, then there's a public speech, right, where the Duke and Duchess are blaming the dissenters on the Craven attack. They're pushing blame elsewhere. They're pushing blame elsewhere, and that's what I got, right? It wasn't about them, it was about others. And they're creating paranoia, right? And then Poppy, new thing, she used to be able to feel people's pain, and now she seems to be able to feel fear. Right? Was that what it was?
Anger.
Fear and anger. And that's new to her. And she's like, what's going on? She like saw this one person in the crowd and was like, I don't understand what this is. I think it's anger. And then that person ends up throwing a Craven hand.
A hand
of a Craven to the Duke and Duchess.
At the Duke.
And he says, from blood and ash we shall rise. And I don't know. That to me, that really stamped that the Duke and Duchess are bad. I really feel like the Craven are being set up as bad, but this makes me seem like they're good somehow, and I don't know how.
It's almost like the people in power are not always the good guys just because they're in power.
Right.
And maybe actually like the working class, the regular people, are the ones who should have the power.
And we know that
this is not a political podcast.
I'm talking about the book.
We know that the Craven are somehow created through some kind of corruption, which I think is really what this is coming to. That the Craven might be quote-unquote bad, but they're bad because they were created that way and not because they're inherently such.
I wrote down, and I don't know if this is something that was said or just a theory that I had, I wrote down the Atlanteans drink blood to murder. They don't drink blood. They don't drain people of blood. They drink the blood to murder. But the survivors of that attack become the Craven.
Right.
Was that a thing that was said, or is that just a...
No, I don't remember that.
No, it was explained that that's how Craven is formed.
Okay.
Is that, yeah, they were attacked in some form, and then they survive and develop this sort of insatiable need for more blood, and therefore attack more people.
Right.
Could the Craven be something with those missing babies?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think that's
No,
all
that's
ascended.
fine. Yeah. I mean, I'm just throwing other things out. All right, so that's what happens there, and then the chapter ends, or at least what we read up to, with Poppy going with the priestess and the priestess is giving her a history lesson and correcting her all the time. And Poppy's like, she always says this to me, even if I get it right, she makes my corrections. And then Hawk jumps in and he's like, yo, girl, you're wrong. This is what actually happened. He's like, so what happened was you're wrong, right? And the priestess doesn't like it. Poppy questions something. I forget exactly what, but she questions something about the Ascended and the Craven. And the priestess is she's not happy with that, and she's about to slap this at a Poppy.
Yeah, she compares the Ascended drinking the blood of the gods to what happens with the Craven and the Atlanteans and their blood situation.
Right.
Everybody's drinking blood.
We're just drinking blood. And that's where Hawk comes in and grabs the priestess' hand, and he's like, nuh-uh, that's my girl. You don't touch her.
The priestess also reveals more information about the first maiden in this chapter. There was a maiden before Poppy, at least one maiden. We don't know if there were more, but at least this one maiden before her. But she's never spoken of because she met a terrible fate. She was killed by the Dark One.
And I like to ring the buzzer right now.
Okay.
I'm ringing the buzzer right now. The maiden, the OG maiden, is not dead.
Oh.
The OG maiden is not dead.
I had not thought of that.
Because I would like to go back to Star Wars. Episode 4. Darth Vader killed your father. Right? Which is sort of true, but not.
So the maiden is the dark one?
Well, no, I don't know if the maiden's the dark one, but can you repeat what you said about the maiden? She what?
She met a terrible fate.
She met a terrible fate, which was she, like, got with the dark one or became with the dark one. I don't know if she is the dark one. Maybe she is. But she's alive and on the other side of this war.
And that makes sense because the Duchess says that the Duke won't talk about the First Maiden.
Right.
And so it would make sense if it wasn't because she died, but because she, turned to the other side or is supporting the rebel faction here.
With Luke and Leia.
Exactly.
Yeah. At some point in these chapters, this isn't in the notes that we have, but at some point in these chapters, Poppy goes to the Duchess and is like, my gift is doing some stuff.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
And the Duchess is like, this can happen.
Yeah.
Keep me posted, basically. Okay, any other, before we get into predictions, any other thoughts, takeaways? I wrote, why aren't these heroines literate? She doesn't like reading out loud, and again, bringing it back to ACOTAR.
It's true.
Feyre can't read.
Feyre can't read.
Why? We are dealing with...
It's the same thing in Throne of Glass also.
We are dealing with babies, 19-year-old girls. Those are the people we're rooting for. It's on them to save the world, and they can't read. And maybe that's because, like, all fantasy is, like, low-key medieval, and, like, people didn't really read in medieval times. But in both of these worlds, it is weird that the heroine doesn't read. It is notable that she doesn't read. So I don't think that's an excuse. I want a heroine who is literate.
She literate.
And particularly here, because, like, Poppy...
Is the maiden.
They are educating her, and so, why isn't she taking that further?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're probably educating her. They're grooming her for something.
Well, yes, but
Something
the fact
evil.
is that, like, she has some form of an education, and so, like, why isn't she inspired to also continue her education and read?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's they're controlling what her education is.
Right.
Right? Like, she only knows what they want, which is why she thinks they're the good guys.
So, guesses on what my spoiler was.
Oh.
Victor dies.
Okay, so you mentioned it was a minor character. Who the hell is the minor character that we read about? Maybe is it the priest? No, it couldn't be the priestess. Couldn't be Hawk. I don't know what minor character you could have been looking up, honestly. So I'm gonna say, so it led to something else that you said that we'll probably find out in this book.
Maybe.
I'm gonna go with Poppy. Don't wave me on. All right, I'm keeping. There's no dead air. It's not pause. The Poppy is gonna learn to read. That's what the spoiler was.
That's the big spoiler, everybody.
Poppy's gonna learn to read, and she's gonna save the day by reading the Bible and doing away with all the vampires.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, we'll have to reveal whether or not they're right.
All right. So, I don't know. I think we did a whole bunch of what happens next, but
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about what might happen next? I still think I'm kind of sold that the maiden's not dead, but like what's going to happen immediately next? Again, I'm not sure. They haven't really led us in a direction. I think we'll probably see the Craven a little bit more. I think we're going to we have to, something with an Atlantean has to pop. We need some more backstory. I need some more backstory, but we're halfway through this book.
Yeah, I do feel like we got good backstory. Like we learned more about like Poppy's parents. We learned more about Hawk's background. Like I do feel like we got good backstory in these chapters. But I think you're right that we'll just keep getting more and more.
Right, there's 9 other books, so.
Yeah.
Lord.
And
All right.
she does go many chapters without bringing up, like, major plot points. Like, we went 7 chapters without mentioning the Craven. And then suddenly there was an attack. And now, same thing kind of with the Atlanteans. We were talking about them a lot in the last couple episodes, and then it's been, like, quiet for these 7 chapters. So, I think to your point, Atlanteans are coming back up. I think her power is expanding, and that's going to do something interesting and fun. And I think there's going to be soup.
Lord willing. I also think we're going to learn more about the dissenters and their relationship to Atlanteans.
They're the good guys.
To Craven. I don't believe that the Craven are necessarily the good guys, but I do believe the dissenters are the good guys.
I agree. Maybe the secret that you learned was she has the power of heart from like Captain Planet. Like the
Say
ring.
more about that.
With our powers combined.
With our powers combined. So Poppy is actually a character from Captain Planet. She's got the heart ring.
Who are the other people with the other rings?
Hawk has the fire ring.
Okay.
Tawny is the wind one.
She was my favorite.
Victor is absolutely earth. And what am I missing? People usually forget water. And water is going to be... Those are all the friends they have. Oh, no. Rylan was water.
Rylan was water. Rip.
Yeah, so now they can't form Captain Planet right now.
Got it.
So they need a new water ring person.
Okay.
What's our homework, you say? Great. I would love to give you your homework for this weekend. Your homework for next Friday's recording is finishing the book.
What?
Oh, yeah.
By next Friday?
By next Friday. We have a long weekend, and I want to read Fourth Wing.
Okay. I'm just feeling like next week's podcast is going to be mad long. We're going to have a lot to talk about.
Then we're going to have to get 2 blocks together.
I was going to say, we can break it up.
I need to finish this book and read Fourth Wing.
Okay. I'm just wondering if like maybe we should try to read like 10 chapters by Tuesday and 10 chapters by Friday.
By next Friday, this book is done.
I know, but I'm saying like maybe we break it up into 2 episodes.
I'm fine with that.
That we don't have 20 chapters to talk about in one episode.
That's okay.
Hey, kids at home, finish the book by next Friday. Internally, we will decide.
Yeah, we'll let you know
what that breakup is.
Sure.
Thanks. Go ahead.
I just don't want y'all to have to listen to us yap for 3 hours in one episode.
Bet. Thanks for listening.
Bye.